You're listening to the Bloodshed Baddies.
Hi, I'm Lex,
And I'm Sam.
and we are the Bloodshed Baddies.
Hello, baddies. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
What up, what up, what up?
Well, Sam, because of Baddies, I too have had to wait a week for this part too. And I kind of want to jump right into the case because I'm very curious to know theories and such. But I did find a BuzzFeed quiz that I want us to take together.
Oh, God, I'm scared. What is it about? What's the topic?
The title of the BuzzFeed quiz is How Terrible of a Sister Are You Actually?
Terrible. I love it.
So there is a checklist, and I'm going to read it to you. And if you're guilty of it, I'll check it.
Did you already take this?
No, we're going to take it together.
Okay.
Have you ever listened in on their phone calls?
I mean, I read text messages. I feel like that's the same thing. So check.
I've never done that to you.
You never read any text messages on my phone?
No.
Such a lie.
I swear. Have you ever borrowed their clothes without asking?
I'm sure we both have.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All the time, especially like when we were both in high school
Yes.
and got caught wearing them.
I'm sure. We probably
Me
gotten
too.
beat on fights about it.
Had a total power trip when your parents put you in charge.
You check.
No.
Still to this day, it's lasting. I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, you were never put in charge because you're reliable
Oh, yeah.
and made them do whatever you wanted. I didn't make you guys do whatever you wanted, whatever I wanted.
Yeah, I feel like no, but you had a power trip.
Got offended when someone said you look alike.
We've got told them our whole life. I don't think I've ever been offended by
I've
that.
never been offended. In fact, Samantha and I used to play a game when we would go out and we would try to see how many people we could convince we were twins. And the answer was everybody.
I know. I was gonna say I don't think
It
anyone ever said
was
no.
not a hard game.
I don't know why we played it.
Have you ever acted completely innocent when you did something wrong? I'm
Like
sure
growing
that
up,
I've done that
yeah, yeah.
and made your sister look like she started it. Yes, for sure.
I mean,
Both
sure,
ways.
yeah. Siblings.
Kept a blackmail folder of old and awkward photos of them on your computer.
No.
No, me neither.
Okay, I was scared.
Expose them for telling a lie or exaggerating something online in a comment.
No.
Me neither. Hung around awkwardly, waiting to be invited to hang out with her and her friends.
I'm sure we both have.
I think so too. Been smug when your parents took your side.
I mean, yeah.
Till this day, we're so smug when one of our parents take our side. Scratched them and left a fingernail mark.
Duh.
Pulled their hair.
Duh.
Pretended to cry after they did just to make them feel bad.
We're gonna be bad sisters, but yes.
Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. Snuck into their room to steal a hair tie.
I mean,
Easy.
duh. It's a hair tie.
Secretly recorded them on your phone doing something embarrassing. I feel like
I
we
would
don't have
think
to do this
so.
in secret. We're both okay with each other recording embarrassing things on our phone.
Yeah, like we just like giggle, like, ha, look at this funny video I have of you. Ha, ha, ha. Like it's not like we're embarrassed at all.
Intentionally left your hair on the shower wall just to annoy them.
No, that's weird.
That's gross.
Sorry if you did that.
Rubbed in their face when you were allowed to do something they weren't.
I mean, sure, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think for you, it was mostly like, I got to have a cell phone before you. I got to
Yeah.
have a later curfew than you.
Yeah, like little things like that.
Yeah. Fought over the remote.
I mean, yes.
Yes. Fought over the front car seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shotgun.
Fought over rooms.
No?
I don't think we've ever fought over a room. Fought over a mutual friend.
I'm sure we fought over like Gina growing up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we had to have. Hi, Gina.
spied on them when they had a romantic interest over.
I mean, yeah.
Yes, 100%. Hacked their Facebook or Instagram at least once.
I've never done that too.
I've never done that either. Tried to convince them that they were an accident.
I mean, I think we've all done that to each other, me, you, and Jake. Or adopted.
Or adopted, yeah. Even though we all look so much alike, we'd be like,
Exactly
you're
alike.
adopted. Complimented them on their makeup, but immediately reminded them that you still hate them.
I'm sure we like maybe not makeup, but I'm sure we've done something like, "Oh, you look nice, but I still mad at you." Like I'm sure we've done
Oh,
that
yeah. Repeated everything they said just to piss them off.
all the time. You would get so mad at me, Jake.
Left their room without closing the door. Oh my God. We used to do
Yes.
this to each other all the time. Every time one of us
Yes.
left the room, we wouldn't close the door. And then you'd hear, close the door. Secretly idolized them.
I mean, you're my older sister, so yeah, for me.
Yeah, for me too. But
Aw,
never let them know.
I'm letting you know now.
Yeah, but we're gonna check it because we wouldn't be until this quiz. So let's see. Ooh, you're the sister from hell.
Okay, we both are. We only had like two not checks.
You checked more than 91% of quiz takers.
Woo!
You're a terrible sister. You love nothing more than to push their buttons, steal their stuff, and get them in trouble. But deep down, somewhere around your cold heart, you have a love for them.
That literally describes it perfect. We kept it interesting. We made childhood fun. We build character. Come on.
Yeah, we built so much character.
I love it. I accept that with pride.
Okay, sister from hell. Would you like to jump back into your case? Because I'm dying to know more.
Yes. So, baddies, just a reminder, like Lexi said, this is a two-parter. So, if you have not listened to part one yet, I highly, highly recommend stopping this, going to last week's episode, and listening to that first so you are not super confused.
Yes, also, it's a great episode. It's so interesting. So go listen.
Thank you. All right, last week we discussed the core Chillicothe Six and the connections between Charlotte Trago, Tamika Lynch, Tiffany Sayer, Wanda Lemons, Shasta Himmerlich, and Timberly Clater. All of these women are from the same small town of Chillicothe, Ohio, and all of these women were connected in some ways, whether friends, working together, or even in jail together. All of these disappearances or murders also happened in just a little of a year in 2014 and 2015. Unfortunately, these women were also addicted to drugs and used sex work as a means to maintain their addictions. This caused people to not be as concerned about their disappearances and to almost blame them for their lifestyle choice, which we talked about last week is just really awful. It also makes timelines messy and information out there conflicting. So, again, I tried my very best to be as accurate as possible in part one, and will continue to do that for part two as well. Right off the bat, I'll tell you that unfortunately, part two may be a little bit confusing because there is a decent amount of he said, she said.
Oh boy.
But today, we will be talking about the last person Timberly Clater was seen with. We will be talking about the rumors and possibilities, and we will also talk about a few other women that may be connected to the Chillicothe Six as well. So, super quick rundown to refresh our memories and remember this happened from 2014 to 2015. Charlotte Trago was the first woman to go missing without a trace. Tamika Lynch then disappeared, possibly even the same day as Charlotte, but she was found in Paint Creek, clothed in only socks. She had drugs in her system, and her manner of death was ruled undetermined. 6 months later, around Christmas time, a newly pregnant Shasta Himmerlich goes missing and is found in the Scotia River outside Chillicothe, about 37 miles from where Tamika was found. Shasta's death was ruled a suicide. 3 days after Shasta disappeared, Wanda Lemons is reported missing, although she actually disappeared early November. There is no trace of her, and some believe she went back to Texas, although there is no activity on her bank card after November 3rd. And her family said she would never leave her children like that. About a year after the first disappearances, Tiffany Sayer goes missing. Her body was found near Paint Creek, just a couple of miles from where Tamika was found. She was partially clothed, had a sheet wrapped around her, had drugs in her system, and police ruled her death a homicide. The last official woman of the Chillicothe Six was Timberly Clater. Unlike the others who seemed to have vanished or were found in water, Timberly was found with multiple gunshot wounds to the head outside an abandoned building. Now, although these women are connected, in part one, we kind of ended on the questions: is it possible these murders are all different incidents, or could they be connected? Is it possible there's a serial killer in Chillicothe? So keep those same questions in mind as we jump right into it. Through the police investigation into Timberly's murder, the woman shot outside the abandoned building, the women narrowed down the last person she was seen with. And his name is Jason McCrae. Jason McCrae is and was very well known with law enforcement. He was actually previously convicted for a sex offense with a minor.
Ew.
Could he have possibly evolved from rape to murder? His Facebook page is also questionable. It's all guns, and
Oh my God.
one of the Facebook pages, because he has multiples for some reason, his occupation said that he was, quote, keeper of souls.
What?
Is that not so scary?
Ew. He's into like dark shit.
Scary, scary. But again, Timberly was last seen with Jason, and he actually lives within a mile from where she was found. Jason also has connections with the other women as well. For instance, in the documentary I watched, Tiffany Sayer, who was found murdered, was beat up really bad one time from her work, and she wouldn't go to the police or tell anyone about it. But allegedly, she told a friend it was Jason McCrae who did this to her. Jason
Oh.
does deny the claim. But because Jason is the last person to be seen with Timberly, he is the primary suspect. I also think because she was shot, there's much more need to solve this murder compared to the other girls, which again, terrible. But it seems like police are putting in the effort to solve this, and they question Jason. And he said he did see Timberly at the Speedway and had sex with her, and that was it. The police then search his home and they find a bunch of guns and bullets, and they also find blood.
Oh, okay.
His roommate also said he had a 380 gun, 38.38 gun. I don't really know. But that was the same one used in the crime, and that was used as physical evidence to link Jason to the crime. But I mentioned blood, and there was blood on his white car. There was also blood found on a pair of shoes that Jason allegedly wore that night. And they arrest Jason and then soon find out the blood DNA links him directly to Timberly,
Oh
and thus, of course, her murder.
my gosh.
So Jason goes to court and they bring up all of this DNA evidence against him. And they also bring in a witness, and her name is Jessica. Jessica says that she was in the car with Timberly, Jason, and two others during the time of the murder. Jessica admits to being very drunk this night. She says that while they were all driving around, Jason got very mad at Timberly because she smoked the last bit of their drugs.
Oh my God. If he killed her over drugs, this is insane.
They started to argue with each other. Timberly is allegedly in the front passenger seat and Jason is driving. Jason then pulls a gun on her, and Timberly gets loud and is like, stop, and opens the passenger door. This is when, allegedly, according to Jessica, Jason shot Timberly. He then threatened Jessica and was like, I know where you and your kids live. And that is why she says she didn't tell anyone until now.
Yeah, that's totally understandable because you know he's going to make good on that threat. You just watched him kill somebody.
Yeah. Because she was drinking heavily, though, doubt is raised, but even more so because they bring the other two people that Jessica said she was with on the stand and they literally deny everything, like even knowing her. So
What?
who is really to believe what?
Okay. First off, never ever have I ever been so drunk that I'd make up a story about a murder. Just saying. I mean, also, that doesn't mean it actually did happen.
Yeah.
She could be
But
lying for other reasons, but there's no way it's because she was too drunk.
there's also a video shown where Jessica takes the cops to the scene of the crime and shows them where they dumped Timberly's body. This was at night, so the police officers have flashlights in their hands. And she takes them to the incorrect side of the building and says, "We put the body here." The cop then is like, "Are you sure?" And starts shining his flashlight very directly at the cross that was there as a memorial for Timberly at the spot she was found. And then Jessica goes, "Oh, I messed up. We put her body there."
Eh.
Yes. So a little odd. Also, allegedly around this time, Jessica got custody back of her child, I believe a daughter. And it is rumored around town that she was cooperating with police in order to get custody back. So, seems a little shady and could definitely cause reasonable doubt.
Mhm.
It's always crazy when people on the defense take the stand, but Jason ends up taking the stand at this trial.
Wow, I'm very surprised I let him do that.
He says he did see Timberly at the gas station and was paying her for sex when Ernest Moore, who goes by the street name Dollar Bill, came up to the car.
Oh, I want to go buy more like $100 bill.
That might be too hard to say.
That's just me personally, but
Ernest told Timberly that he thought she stole from him. Ernest said it was either Timberly or her friend, and Timberly was denying this. Remember, this is from Jason. Then, allegedly, Ernest took the gun out and shot Timberly. Ernest then hit Jason on the
wait, like
back
in
with,
front of Jason? Oh, yeah, okay, in front of
yep.
Jason.
Ernest then hit Jason on the back with the gun and threatened him, saying, "I know where your girl and son live." And Jason was like, "I don't want anything to do with this." And that is why he didn't say anything until now.
Until like the actual court case.
I believe so.
Okay, that's fishy. Like once you're getting arrested for murder, maybe you tell that story. Not wait till you get up on the stand.
Yeah. So right now there's kind of like two stories in court. Jessica's story that has some reasonable doubt that she saw Jason do it, and Jason's story that he was with Timberly and Dollar Bill or Ernest Moore came and did it. The prosecution then brings up an incident in 2004. Jason was actually called as a witness in Ernest Moore's trial. Ernest was being charged with a felonious assault and attempted murder. Jason refused to cooperate and was actually deemed a hostile witness.
Oh my, this is a fucking mess.
Yes, Jason said he was afraid to say anything for fear of his family being killed, but again, it raises doubts. After deliberating for 3 hours, the jury finds a 36-year-old Jason guilty on one count of murder of Timberly Clater.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
He is given 28 years to life and didn't show much emotion when the decision was given out. He also has not been named a suspect in any of the other murders of the Chillicothe Six. However, many people are not happy with this ruling. They believe that Ernest Moore was involved in some way and that the justice wasn't completely served.
That's tough because there's not, I mean, I guess there was blood evidence that directly linked Jason, right?
Yeah, but if we are to believe Jason's story that Ernest
There,
Moore did
yeah.
it, that would make sense that there would be blood on his shoes if they were in the car together. So it could go either way. But before we get into Ernest a little more, because
Oh,
it's interesting, the documentary, which was put out in, I believe, 2017, arranges a call with Jason while he's in jail.
ooh,
They ask him if he knows anything about the other girls' murders or disappearances, and he tells them some interesting things. Again, this is from Jason's account. He says that Tamika Lynch and her husband were actually informants. And we will see that this may be the case with some of the other women as well.
really?
Yes. Two individuals, a man named Crail Brooks and a man named Preston, found out Tamika was setting people up. And Crail allegedly gave Tamika a hot shot to OD in Preston's car.
Oh,
Again, this is from Jason's account. Interestingly, Crail actually worked for Ernest Moore
so messy.
and does not live far from where Tamika's body was found. Crail also has a violent streak, and a woman said she got beat up really bad from him one time. The night of Charlotte's disappearance, If you remember from part one, it was rumored that Tamika and Charlotte were at a party together in Bainbridge. Crail Brooks was also rumored to be there. Crail has been arrested for drugs, domestic violence, possession of controlled substances, and tampering with evidence. It was also heavily rumored around town that Tamika was, in fact, given a hot shot, just like Jason is saying. And Charlotte freaked out when her friend died in front of her, of course. And then people believe that Ernest Moore, the man we are about to talk about, and Crail took Charlotte to a remote area and killed her and possibly burned her there. Allegedly, people think there could be other bodies at this location as well. But since it's private property, the documentary couldn't go there. And they call like Ohio's FBI or whatever. And since airing the documentary and for my research, they have yet to get a search warrant for this property.
Hmm.
Jason told the documentary a similar story to what I just said, what is heavily rumored, and also said that Ernest allegedly told him at one point, I should have done her like I did the other ones, or something along those lines. So again, Jason is implicating Ernest Moore in another murder. Can Jason be trusted? Do we think he's telling the truth?
I mean, I can't trust him as far as I can throw him, but I can't trust good old Ernie over here either. And I can't
Ernie.
trust what was her name in the car? I can't trust her.
Jessica.
I can't trust anybody.
This is why I'm trying to warn everybody if you're like, what the poo is going on? It's confusing. It's messy. Crail, the person Jason claims to have given the hot shot to Tamika, was questioned in the murder of Tamika and the disappearance of Charlotte, but was never charged. 12 days, though, after Tamika was found, Crail was arrested for drug charges and started serving a sentence for drug trafficking in April of 2015. Preston, the other individual that Jason implicated, also has a history of charges. One after the murders for burglary, which he served 30 months. But Preston actually talks to the interviewers of the documentary. He told them he had two polygraphs from police and passed them. He admits that he knew Tamika and Charlotte and says that he knew Crail but didn't really know him. He ends up being arrested after the interview for violating his probation. So, again, a lot of he said, she said here.
Yes.
But it seems like Ernest Moore's name is being brought up a lot. So, who is this Ernest Moore? Ernest, or street name Dollar Bill, had served time for drug trafficking and attempted abduction. He traded,
Attempted abduction?
yes, he traded drugs from Columbus to West Virginia and was a big player in the drug world. He marked drugs and prostitution and was also known for putting guns in people's faces.
Cool, 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 cool. Sounds like a stand-up fucking guy.
He allegedly always had women around him to help him run drugs and whatnot. Ernest also allegedly knew all of the Chillicothe Six. Charlotte allegedly helped him with his business dealings. Ernest was connected to Shasta. Allegedly, Michael O's, if we remember from part one, Shasta's boyfriend, ran drugs for Ernest Moore. Allegedly, Shasta also used to transport drugs for Ernest, as well as he would use her addiction for her services sometimes. Ernest Moore is also connected to Tiffany. He was also allegedly trapping out of a house on Sugar Street that was on Tiffany's path home the night she went missing, walking home only a few blocks.
What?
It was also rumored that Tiffany tricked for and possibly stole from Ernest Moore. There was also a possible phone call to Ernest Moore from Tiffany's phone the night that Tiffany disappeared. Ernest also allegedly hated Timberly. And when law enforcement asked him about his alleged role in Timberly's murder, he just refused to speak.
This reminds me a lot of like what we just talked about in the Biggie and Tupac episode, is that like all these people are involved in illegal activities. So there's all these rumors and there's all these he said, she said, but because they're all involved in something, it's all half truths and you can't figure out what is actually going on.
I think that that's 100% accurate. Again, Ernest is rumored to help kill Charlotte with Crail, which would insinuate he was at the party with Tamika as well. So those are connections with 5 out of the 6 Chillicothe women. And as a reminder, there wasn't much information about Wanda, but since she ran in the same circles, I'm sure there was a connection somewhere there as well. Ernest also had a history with violence. He is currently serving a 10-year sentence for kidnapping and assault. July,
What?
this is a wild story. July 22nd, 2015, along with three associates, Ernest kidnapped and tortured Arthur Hamlin, who at one time was his right hand man in Chillicothe. Arthur Hamlin also has a drug addiction and allegedly stole from Ernest. Arthur was bound with duct tape, stuffed into a duffel bag, and then tortured over a length of many hours in unimaginable ways that I literally won't go into too much detail about because it's awful, but you can do your own research if you're interested. But Arthur gets away. And after Arthur gets away, he's in the hospital and allegedly is picked up by Ernest Moore. This man picks him up from the hospital. Ernest forces him to write an affidavit basically saying that Ernest was kidnapped with him and was not the one to torture him and makes him sign his name. Ernest brings this to the police to try and get the heat off of him, but thankfully the police are like, no, this is shady, and arrest Ernest right there.
Wow.
Can you imagine getting kidnapped and tortured in unimaginable ways and you walk out of the hospital and your kidnapper is there to pick you up?
No, that's literally the most traumatic thing that could ever happen.
Awful.
I'd be running back into that hospital. Help me, help me. I need a witness.
Literally. The documentary I watched actually went and talks to Arthur, the man who was kidnapped and tortured.
Really?
And honestly, he did not appear to be in the right state of mind. So I don't know if he was a trusted source, but he said he actually loved Charlotte and that Ernest didn't kill anyone. He also made a comment, though, that the woman, quote, effed up and got themselves killed, quote, but then quickly was like, oh, overdose. I mean, overdosed.
Ah.
So an odd comment to say the least. Arthur also said that Charlotte was buried near the railroad tracks and that no one would ever get her.
Arthur sounds like a little off his rocker, but I mean, if he was a druggie as well, then, it's all just mix up, mash up. Nobody knows what they're talking about.
Yes. Ernest ends up receiving another charge where he took a plea agreement for selling drugs across state lines, and this tacked on 13 years to his 10-year sentence for kidnapping. So he'll be like 63 around the time of his parole.
I think it is wild that you only get 10 years for kidnapping someone. Like,
I thought the same thing.
just wait 10 years and then you could go kidnap somebody else, I guess.
Kidnapping and torture, and then more for the drugs.
And you could probably get out early on like good behavior and parole. So, like, we're talking you get sentenced 10 years. You might be serving 7 to 8 of those, and then you're back out on the streets ready to kidnap again.
Yeah. It was also said that Ernest Moore or Dollar Bill would put out a lot of information out there to try and deter people from knowing the truth. So could this be why there are so many rumors floating around as well?
That's actually ingenious. Like, to then go out in these groups and start different little rumors so that nobody knows the truth, especially with like we're saying, the kind of people that are having these rumors are people who are like under the influence, drinking, all running the same circles, gossiping, and everything gets changed a little bit and a little bit every time. And now
Yep,
nobody knows the truth.
I agree. I'm going to bring up another man now, Wallace Coleman. Street name, which I feel like would be one of ours, Lex, is Cheese.
Jeez.
I love it.
For sure.
But he was a drug dealer for Ernest, Wallace Coleman. The same documentary interviewed Wallace, and he says that Ernest was involved in Timberly's murder, like Jason said. Timberly owed him money, and he and Jason did it together. He says that Ernest told him this. An old roommate also said that Charlotte was with Ernest Moore, and she heard that he dismembered her. Wallace also said that Ernest was not involved in Tamika's murder, but Tamika did owe money to Crail Brooks and Preston. So these same names come up again and again and again. Wallace says that Crail beat up Tamika and gave her a hot shot of heroin to make it look like a drug overdose. Charlotte, who remembered people said was with Tamika, was allegedly collateral damage, and then they burned her like most of the rumors state.
This is, again, there's no better word than messy, 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 messy.
Yes. And that's basically all we get from Wallace. But interestingly enough, there is another woman in Chillicothe, Megan Kilo, and she unfortunately passed away from an alleged drug overdose December 4th, 2015. So within the same time frame of all of this, she was 26 years old. Megan was born April 30th, 1989, and it was actually a boyfriend who got Megan addicted to drugs. But Megan's mother believes that she was murdered like with a hot shot. Her mom believes this because Megan allegedly had a recording on her phone that she showed to her mom. She actually told her mom that if anything were to happen to her, it was because of all of the information on her phone. But the recording was allegedly of Crail. The mom says Crail admitted to killing Tamika and Charlotte on this recording.
Oh, no.
He said that he beat Charlotte's face in and that no one would find the body. Her mom also said that she heard from Ernest Moore that he was there the night Charlotte and Tamika were murdered and claimed he did it, but did not go into detail.
This is so confusing.
I know. When Megan passed away, the police investigated it, and Officer Twyla Goebel took her cell phone in for evidence
Oh,
that
good.
allegedly had this recording. But even though her death was ruled an overdose, they never returned the phone. And allegedly, no one knows where this phone with this recording is.
Ay, 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 people.
Officer Twyla Goebel also has some rumors flying around about her as well.
Oh, nuts.
Allegedly, Twyla works with another shady officer, Chip Campbell. And Officer Campbell was known for keeping Ernest Moore, dollar bill, out of harm's way.
Also, Chip Campbell sounds like a crooked police officer's name. I'm sorry, it just does.
It really does. It was said that when Tiffany went missing, it was Chip that called Ernest and told him about the phone call they found to connect him to Tiffany. So this leads people to believe that Ernest Moore or Dollar Bill was also possibly an informant, which is interesting because it is rumored that that is why the women were murdered. Remember, it was rumored that Tamika was an informant and
Uh,
actually working with Chip and or Twyla.
this is so confusing. Like, holy moly.
It was also rumored that Shasta was an informant. Also, Megan's mom tells the documentary a bizarre story that Megan told her that Officer Twyla took her and Charlotte Trago, the first woman to go missing, to Detroit to go quote unquote shopping. Her mom was like, "Why the heck would you do that and get in a car with Officer Goebel?" And Megan was like, "I know Officer Twyla very well. She gives us drugs." So we're
Uh,
Lexi's face is just so shocked. So were they informants, all of them? Do crooked cops now have a place in this?
this is wild.
To confuse us more. The possibility
No, no, it's already too much.
the possibility of a serial killer was also thought about by police. Specifically, there was speculation that Neil Falls may have had something to do with it. Neil Falls was a terrible, terrible man and targeted sex workers. However, July 18th, 2015, 2 hours outside of Chillicothe, Neil Falls started strangling an intended victim, Heather Soul. This straight up baddie grabs a nearby rake and hits him with it. Neil lays the gun down to check on himself, and she grabs it and shoots Neil to death.
Hell yeah.
They were able to link him to 6 other women's deaths. They found firearms in his car, trash bags, handcuffs, a big tub, and like a straight up kill kit in his car. Think like Dexter like.
Whoa.
Although it seemed plausible that he could be connected to the Chillicothe Six, police figured out he was targeting his victims online. So he probably could be ruled out in the Chillicothe Six murders since this wasn't how they were targeted.
Yeah, and I feel like a serial killer based on like my knowledge, not that I'm like an expert, but I feel like typically with a serial killer, especially one that's got like a kill kit in their car, they're very methodical about how they do things, and they don't go off script very much because it's the ritual for them.
Yes. Another interesting story and possible person to have committed the murders. Police took a report from a woman who said she was assaulted behind Liberty Tax Service by a man who said, quote, "I'm gonna kill you like I did the other girl and they'll never find her." This was after Tamika's body was found, so before the other women went missing. So at this point, Charlotte is missing and Tamika's body was found. But the man's
Okay.
car, including a hatchet found inside, was processed for DNA and fingerprints, but nothing was found connecting him to Tamika or Charlotte. This man grew up in Bainbridge, pled guilty to assaulting the woman, and then overdosed on drugs and died in 2017. So, after the Chillicothe Six murders, could he have possibly had something to do with it, even though they didn't find DNA?
I think it's possible. It sounds more like maybe he was like just trying to be scary and get this girl to shut up. I feel like when you know people are scared already from X, Y, and Z
Yeah, like
going
more of
on
a
in
threat.
the, yeah, especially like, was she a sex worker? Was she into drug? Like, was she just a random lady? Because like these victims aren't random.
Yeah, they're all
They're not
connected.
just somebody walking by the bank and you grab them and pull them behind a building kind of thing. Like that would be too coincidental for them to all be so interconnected if they were just randomly pulled off the streets.
Very true. Now, I do want to bring up the other two women that are commonly connected to the Chillicothe Six. If you do a Google search, these names are oftentimes intertwined with the rest of the Chillicothe Six. I do see some clear connections, so I wanted to bring them up as well. The first woman actually went missing before Charlotte Trago, so she would have been the first one. Her name was Megan Lancaster. It was quoted from a source: when Megan disappeared, they all started to disappear. Growing up, Megan had been a gifted athlete with a softball scholarship. She was really caring and outgoing and had a child her senior year of high school. She went missing about an hour from Chillicothe in Wheelersburg, but was close to Portsmouth, which is like a pill hub. I believe this is where she was last seen, and it's about 45 miles from Chillicothe. Very sadly, it was reported that she was sexually abused, and that started her drug habit. She used pills to cope with her pain and was addicted to Oxy. Just like the other women, she started engaging in sex work to support her habit. On April 3rd, 2013, a 25-year-old Megan spent the evening with friends. She called her mother at 7:30 p.m. There was no communication from her after, which was not like her, especially with her son. Her white Mustang was later located at a Rally's hamburger place in Portsmouth. The police checked her belongings to investigate her disappearance, and I believe when they went through her belongings, all they took was like hair from her hairbrush. They didn't take the needles, syringes, blood, or clothes that were also present in her home.
What?
Police didn't even take her car in for evidence until about 6 months later.
Okay, so much could have happened to that car in 6 months. What evidence are you going to get?
Megan also took a lot of notes about her work. And one of the numbers she had on her list was the police officer in charge of the investigation.
What?
This leads people to think, are the police possibly involved? Or was Megan working as an informant in some sorts?
There's too
Why would
many
she
informants. Too many
why
informants.
why would she have all those notes though, right?
Oh,
Another name on her list of clients was Michael Marin. This man was a former city council member and attorney. He actually got arrested on a total of 18 charges spanning human trafficking, racketeering, and compelling and promoting prostitution.
oh, not. Whoa.
This man denied the claims and then blamed it on the quote, numerous felons who got special treatment for cooperating.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Gross. Literally just gross. He was charged in October 2020 and faced more than 70 years. I believe these charges were in relation to 6 women in total, but I'm sure they were probably more. Unfortunately, we will never know for sure though, because in November of 2021, at 75 years old, Michael died from undisclosed health complications. So interesting.
This whole case reminds me of the Biggie and Tupac case again, that like by the time they start figuring stuff out, people are dead.
Yes, they're very similar.
Yeah.
The other woman people believe may be connected to the Chillicothe Six, however, police do say there's no connection, is Rebecca Cade. This would technically be the last of the Chillicothe women because her murdered body was found in October 2015. Rebecca was born November 26, 1983, in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, yeah, represent.
Rebecca was apparently a little gullible and had a learning disability. She also had a 15-month-old son who was being raised by an aunt. But Rebecca would check in often, like calling 7 to 8 times a day. And it was clear that she loved her son very much, even though he was being raised by the aunts. His aunt was raising him because Rebecca also suffered from addiction issues as well. On October 13, 2015, Rebecca was actually found very brutally. She was found bludgeoned, stabbed, and hanging by a sleeve on a fence. There was allegedly a blood path showing a path that she must have fled. Rebecca was 31 years old, and it appeared that she got into a fight with her attacker, ran into a lot that was surrounded by a fence, and then got stuck trying to escape.
Oh no.
How sad.
That's horrible.
There was a bloody rock near the body, believed to have been the weapon. Now, Donnie Cockner Jr., who was 27 years old, was actually arrested the day that Rebecca was found. He allegedly got in a fight with her that night. He fled to his sister's house and allegedly had blood and mud on him that DNA connected him to Rebecca Cade. In court, he said they had sex and then got into an argument. She bit him and then he did hit her, but that was all that happened. Even with the DNA evidence connecting Donnie, his attorney said there were multiple people fighting and drinking that night near the bonfire they were at, and some of who did not like Rebecca specifically. Someone apparently testified they were drinking but saw a woman fighting with Rebecca that night. Crazily, in April 2017, Donnie was cleared of her murder and found not guilty.
I'm sorry. Okay. What?
I don't know how, but part of the reason I added this, because super interestingly, in February of 2022, Donnie set fire to an abandoned building and he refused to come out. Apparently, he was like screaming at law enforcement when they arrived while he was in the burning building. Donnie was arrested and charged with arson. This building was the old Maysville Dairy Bar. If you remember from part one, the dairy bar off Trago Road, where Timberly Clater was found shot to death.
What?
Investigators did not release the cause or reason for this fire.
There's so much coincidence in this case.
Yes.
It's to the point where it's not like, oh, all these coincidences add up to one thing. It's like all these coincidences lead us in a million different directions.
1,000%. And there's so many moving parts and names and he said and she said. And that is actually part two. I hope part two wasn't super confusing. Like I said, a lot of he said, she
Wait,
said,
that's it?
a lot of rumors going around. But Lex, what are you thinking? Like we ended in part one. Do you think they're all connected? Do you think one person is to blame? Do you think more than one person is to blame?
Uh, I think I still definitely think the first five were for sure connected. For sure. I think there's a very good chance Timberly's connected. Timberly was the last one, correct?
Correct.
It was so different with the shooting that I'm having a hard time being like, it for sure was connected.
Yeah.
And she wasn't found like in water, like everybody else was found in the creek, besides that one that was never found. But I would bet she's in water somewhere. I think probably if I had none of them, I feel like this is like a lot of the ones we theorize where I'm like, none of them fit perfectly. But I think if I had to theorize, I think Jason and Ernie make the best suspects.
I think that yeah, I think that the major names that were brought up, especially like they were brought up very often in the documentary. Dollar Bill was a huge one, Ernest Moore. Jason, who's also connected to Ernest Moore, was brought up a lot. Crail Brooks and Preston that were
Oh,
also
yeah.
allegedly connected with Ernest Moore. So I do think that they're all connected in some way of were they informants? Were they possibly stealing? Was this something that was a trickle down effect for those working for Ernest Moore? Like, it's just insane and so wild. And I know that part two doesn't leave anybody feeling like, oh, that's the answer, right?
Yeah. And like part of me wonders if like Jason and Dollar Bill were like in it together, but were beefing, and that's why they just kept blaming each other.
Mm,
Because it is also weird to me that they ended up in another court case before all of this together.
yeah. And then also, what about those crooked cops? Do we think the crooked cops were involved in some way?
I think it's definitely always a possibility. I think it's always the possibility I go to least of all because I do think I know there's crooked cops. I know that we've proved there's crooked cops. I know that cops have done something, but I think the majority of the time it's not cops and it's maybe like bad police work that makes everybody believe that it's crooked. And I think to me, like maybe that girl did tell her mom all that, but like that's not a trustworthy source because she was on drugs at the time. And I'm not saying you can't be honest when you're on drugs, but you're most likely not going to be honest when you're on drugs. And also like so many people are not around to corroborate the story that like the mom could be mad at the police for other things in solving the case and was like, well, I know she knew this cop and that cop probably gave her drugs. And then it starts as like a whole rumor, you know?
Yeah, definitely could be because yeah, I don't know where I lean that way. Like you said, they're either crooked or people are starting rumors about the cops, just like they're starting rumors about everybody else in this case, which is why it'll take a lot to be solved because there are so many moving parts in this case, which is really sad.
It'll take people coming forward and being honest.
Yes.
And what's going to be hard is the honest story is going to conflict with so much of these stories that it's going to be hard to pick out the truth. Like we might have already heard an honest story, right?
Yeah.
But because of all these other rumors and gossip and dishonest stories, we can't pick it out straight away. But if like some of these people could get one other person who is trustworthy to corroborate their stories, right?
Yeah.
Then that puts more weight behind it. Because right now, it truly is he said, she said. There's not multiple people saying this that were all together happened. And there's not multiple people saying, no, that never happened. It's all literally singular people saying, this happened. No, it didn't. This happened. No, it didn't.
Yep. Exactly. And then there's all the like the rumors around town about this person was involved. This is where Charlotte is. This is what happened to Charlotte. Charlotte and Tamika were together. They weren't together. So it's just like
And it
such a
sounds like this group of drug dealers and addicts and sex workers and people who use sex working services and even the cops are so intertwined.
yes, which is
It's
part of the problem, I think.
all the same circle.
Yep.
So to me, it's most likely going to be somebody in that circle, right? I think it'd be a lot if a stranger came into that circle and started doing this. There'd be a lot more us against them notion where this is kind of like all this is in our circle. Let's keep it in our
There.
circle.
I
Yeah.
1000% agree with you. And when people take law or justice, quote unquote, into their own hands, just like when we were talking about the Tupac Biggie case, that also is a cultural thing where like we're gonna take it into our own hands. Um, like if they thought these women did steal from them or something like that, which is just
Mm-hmm.
awful as well.
Yep. And it all could have been like one of them was an informant, maybe this girl who was close with that cop, and because she ran in the circles, all of a sudden all the girls she talked to must be informants too when they're not. Like it could be something that just snowballed.
Yeah. And then it could be also something that, like, whoever did it was just super paranoid that everyone's an informant and I have to get rid of them and I'm freaking out and like something like that as well.
Yeah. Or it
Insane.
could be none of this. And it's just, hey, these are young, vulnerable women who this is easy to do because I'm trusted to them and I'm in the circle. And it wasn't anything other than this person having sick perversions.
Very true. Sorry to give you a headache if I did.
Wow, that was wild. Well, thank you so much for listening. Please go follow us at Bloodshed Baddies. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on TikTok, and we are on YouTube. Please also follow us on podcast platforms. We are on Podbean, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart, all of those things. Give us a nice review. It helps people find us. And also make sure those auto downloads are on so that way we can get those downloads. That's really helpful for us to get seen and noticed and get more listeners.
Send us an email with a case suggestion or a story to bloodshedbaddies@gmail.com. Intro music is made by our amazing cousin Vinny. If this case interested you, don't forget about the fictionalized version, The Savage Side by Tiffany McDaniel. Get that book. She does a lot of intertwining these rumors and stories in there. Tell a friend and tune in next week for a Lex episode.
Bye.